She's not a real grandchild, my mother-in-law said, so I packed my daughter's dress and left the family photo shoot. The morning sun streamed through our kitchen window in suburban Phoenix, Arizona, casting warm golden light across the breakfast table where my 6-year-old daughter Emma sat eating her cereal. Her curly brown hair caught the light as she hummed a Disney song, completely unaware that this ordinary Tuesday morning was about to become a turning point in our lives. "Mama, why do I have to wear the fancy dress today?" Emma asked, swinging her legs from her chair. Her big brown eyes looked up at me with curiosity, not concern. At 6, she still trusted that adults made decisions for good reasons. I smoothed down her hair gently. "Because we're taking family pictures today, sweetheart. Remember? With Grandma Patricia and all your cousins." Emma's face lit up. "Will Cousin Tyler be there? And Sophie?" "Yes, baby. Everyone will be there." I tried to keep my voice cheerful, but something cold settled in my stomach. Family gatherings with my mother-in-law Patricia always felt like walking through a minefield, and today promised to be particularly challenging. My phone buzzed with a text from my husband Mark, running late from the office. "Meet you at the studio. Love you both." I sighed. Mark's absence meant I'd be facing Patricia and her perfectly assembled family army alone, at least initially. Patricia Collins was the kind of woman who planned family events like military operations, complete with color-coordinated outfits, professional photographers, and enough hidden agendas to fuel a soap opera. The photography studio was located in Old Town Scottsdale, surrounded by art galleries and upscale boutiques that catered to Phoenix's wealthier residents. As Emma and I walked through the glass doors, the artificial coolness of the air conditioning hit us like a wall after the desert heat outside. The studio buzzed with activity. Patricia stood in the center like a general commanding her troops, directing the photographer and arranging props. She wore an elegant cream-colored dress that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget, her silver hair styled in perfect waves that didn't dare move despite Arizona's notorious dry heat. Around her, the extended Collins family had assembled in their assigned outfits. Mark's older brother David stood with his wife Jennifer and their 3 biological children, Tyler, Sophie, and baby Mason. David was a successful real estate developer who'd inherited Patricia's commanding presence and her tendency to measure people's worth by their bank accounts. Mark's younger sister Amanda sat in the corner with her husband Chris and their twin boys, both dressed in tiny polo shirts that matched their fathers. Amanda worked as a pediatric nurse, but she'd always lived in David's shadow when it came to Patricia's affections. "Oh good, you're here," Patricia said, barely glancing at us as she adjusted a backdrop. "Emma, go stand over there with the other children while the adults finish setting up." Emma looked up at me uncertainly. "Can I go play, Mama?" "Of course, sweetheart. Go say hi to your cousins." I watched Emma skip over to where Tyler and Sophie were playing with some props. At 8 and 7 respectively, they were close enough to Emma's age to be natural playmates, and I felt my shoulders relax slightly as I saw them welcome her warmly. "Megan, we need to discuss the photo arrangements," Patricia said, appearing at my elbow with a clipboard that looked official enough to be a legal document. Her tone carried that familiar edge of disapproval that had colored our relationship ever since Mark and I got married 5 years ago. "What arrangements?" I asked, though I had a sinking feeling I knew where this was headed. "Well, we're doing several different groupings today. The immediate family shots, the grandchildren shots, the siblings shots." She flipped through pages of what appeared to be a detailed schedule. "I've organized everything to maximize our time and get the best possible photos." I nodded, waiting for the other shoe to drop. With Patricia, there was always another shoe. "Now, for the grandchildren photos, we'll be doing some beautiful shots with just my biological grandchildren. Clean family lines, you understand. Nothing personal, of course." The words hit me like a physical blow, but I kept my expression neutral. "I'm sorry, what do you mean?" Patricia's smile was sharp as broken glass. "Well, Emma is adopted, isn't she? So technically, she's not really a Collins grandchild in the traditional sense. For the family legacy photos, the ones that will go in our Christmas cards and family albums, we want to maintain clear bloodlines." I felt the blood drain from my face. Around us, the chatter of family members continued, but everything seemed muffled, like I was hearing it from underwater. Are you saying Emma can't be in the family photos? Oh, she can be in some of them, of course. The big group shots, the casual ones. But for the formal grandchildren portraits, the ones we'll be framing and displaying, well, it just makes sense to keep those limited to the biological grandchildren. I looked across the room at Emma, who was giggling with Tyler and Sophie, completely unaware that her grandmother was drawing invisible lines that excluded her from the family she'd known her entire life. Patricia, Emma is Mark's daughter in every way that matters. We adopted her when she was 8 months old. She's been part of this family for 6 years. And no one questions that, dear. She's a lovely child, truly. But family photos are about preserving genetic legacy, about showing the continuation of bloodlines. Surely you understand the difference. The photographer, a middle-aged man named Robert, approached us with his equipment. Ladies, we're ready to start with the first grouping. Mrs. Collins, did you want to begin with the grandchildren shots? Perfect timing, Robert. Yes, let's gather Tyler, Sophie, Mason, and the twins. Patricia began herding the children toward the backdrop, her voice taking on that sing-song quality adults use when they're performing Happiness for Kids. Emma bounced over to us, her face glowing with excitement. Is it picture time, Mama? Do I look pretty in my dress? The dress was a soft blue sundress we'd bought specifically for today, chosen to coordinate with the color scheme Patricia had mandated. Emma had been so proud when we picked it out, twirling in front of the dressing room mirror like a little princess. You look beautiful, sweetheart, I said, my voice catching slightly. Emma, honey, you just wait right here with Mama for a minute, Patricia said smoothly. We're going to take some pictures with just the bigger kids first, then we'll do some fun group shots with everyone. I watched Emma's face as understanding slowly dawned. She wasn't stupid, she could see the other children being arranged for photos while she stood aside. Her smile faltered, and she looked up at me with confusion and hurt beginning to cloud her eyes. But I'm big too, Grandma Patricia. I'm 6 now. Of course you are, sweetheart. This is just a different kind of picture. You'll be in lots of pictures today, don't worry. I felt something break inside my chest. This was the moment I dreaded since the day Mark and I first brought Emma home, the moment when someone would make her feel like she didn't fully belong, like her place in our family was somehow conditional or lesser. Mark chose that moment to walk through the studio doors, looking harried from whatever crisis had kept him at work late. He kissed my cheek and ruffled Emma's hair before scanning the room. Sorry, I'm running behind. How are we doing here? Your mother is organizing the photo shoots, I said carefully, watching his face. Mark looked over at the backdrop where Robert was arranging Tyler, Sophie, and the twins in a traditional posed formation. Where's Emma? Shouldn't she be in the grandkids shot too? Before I could answer, Patricia swept over to us with her clipboard and her practiced smile. Mark, darling, perfect timing. We're just taking some beautiful formal portraits of the grandchildren first, then we'll do all the fun group shots with everyone included. Mark frowned. Why isn't Emma in the grandchildren shots? She is your grandchild. Well, of course she's part of our family, sweetheart. But you know how important these formal portraits are for our family history. They'll be passed down for generations. We want them to reflect the true family tree. I watched Mark's expression change as he processed his mother's words. His jaw tightened, and I could see the internal struggle playing out across his face, the eternal battle between loyalty to the woman who raised him and protection of the family he'd chosen to build with me. Mom, what exactly are you saying? I'm saying that for posterity, for accuracy, it makes sense to have separate portraits showing the biological connections. It's nothing against Emma personally. She's a wonderful child, and we all love her dearly. Emma tugged on my sleeve. Mama, I don't understand. Why can't I be in the pictures with Tyler and Sophie? Did I do something wrong? The question shattered what was left of my composure. I knelt down to Emma's level, looking into her confused face, and felt a fierce protective rage rise up from somewhere deep in my core. No, baby. You didn't do anything wrong. Not one single thing. I stood up and faced Patricia directly. Emma will be in the grandchildren photos, or we're leaving. Patricia's smile never wavered, but her eyes went ice cold. Now, Megan, let's not be dramatic. This is supposed to be a joyful family occasion. There's no need to create a scene. I'm not creating a scene. I'm protecting my daughter from being treated like a second-class family member. She's not a real grandchild, Patricia said quietly, but loud enough for Emma to hear. Not in the way that matters for family legacy photos. Surely you can understand the distinction. The words hung in the air like a toxic cloud. I felt Emma's small hand slip into mine, and when I looked down, I saw tears beginning to form in her eyes. That was it. That was the moment I decided we were done. Come on, Emma. We're going home. Megan, wait, Mark started, but I was already leading Emma toward the door. Mama, are we leaving? But I wanted to take pictures with everyone, Emma said, her voice small and confused. I know, sweetheart. Sometimes adults make bad choices, and when they do, we don't have to stay around for it. Behind us, I could hear Patricia's voice rising. This is absolutely ridiculous, Mark. I'm trying to preserve family history here. These photos will be looked at by our descendants for decades to come. And what exactly do you think those descendants will think when they realize one child was excluded? Mark's voice was angry now, angrier than I'd heard it in years. What kind of family legacy is that? But I didn't stop to listen to their argument. I was focused on getting Emma out of that studio before she could be hurt any further. We made it to the parking lot before she started crying. Mama, why doesn't Grandma Patricia want me in the pictures? Is it because I'm adopted? I lifted Emma into the car and knelt beside her open door, taking her hands in mine. The Arizona sun beat down on us mercilessly, but I barely noticed the heat. Emma, listen to me very carefully. There is nothing wrong with being adopted. Do you hear me? Nothing at all. Sometimes when a mommy and daddy can't take care of a baby, that baby gets to join a family that will love them forever. That's what happened with you and Daddy and me. But Grandma Patricia said I'm not real. Grandma Patricia said something very hurtful and very wrong. You are absolutely real, and you are absolutely our daughter, and you are absolutely part of this family. Some people get confused about what makes a family real, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I wiped away her tears and continued. A real family isn't about who has the same blood or the same eyes or the same anything. A real family is about love. It's about choosing to take care of each other every single day. It's about being there when someone is sick or scared or happy or sad. That's what makes a family real. Emma sniffled. Do you think Daddy will be mad at us for leaving? Daddy loves you more than anything in the world, sweetheart. He's not mad at us. He's mad at the people who hurt his little girl. We drove home in relative silence, Emma's sadness hanging over us like a heavy blanket. When we got to our house, a modest 3-bedroom ranch in a family-friendly neighborhood where Halloween meant elaborate decorations and summer meant sprinklers running on every lawn, I helped Emma out of her fancy dress and into comfortable clothes. Can we make cookies? Emma asked. The ones with the chocolate chips. Absolutely. Chocolate chip cookies fix a lot of things. As we measured flour and sugar in our sunny kitchen, I heard Mark's truck in the driveway. He came through the front door looking like he'd been through a war, his dress shirt wrinkled and his hair disheveled. How's my girl? He asked, scooping Emma up in a bear hug. We're making cookies because we had a bad day, Emma reported matter-of-factly. But Mama said cookies fix things. Mama is very smart, Mark said, kissing the top of her head. He looked over at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. Can we talk while Emma watches a movie? We got Emma settled in the living room with her favorite Disney film and retreated to our bedroom. Mark sat heavily on the edge of the bed and put his head in his hands. I'm so sorry, Meg. I had no idea she was planning something like that. What happened after we left? Complete chaos. David and Jennifer sided with Mom, said she had a point about family photos. Amanda defended Emma, which turned into a huge fight between the siblings. The photographer just stood there looking uncomfortable while everyone yelled at each other. Mark stood up and started pacing, something he did when he was really upset. I told Mom that if Emma wasn't welcome in family photos, then neither were we. That we'd skip family events from now on. What did she say? She said I was being manipulated by you, that I was choosing an outsider over my own family. His voice was bitter. 28 years old, and she still thinks she can control my life. I sat down in the rocking chair where I used to feed Emma as a baby, where I'd read her bedtime stories, where we'd had countless conversations about everything from why the sky is blue to why some people are mean sometimes. Mark, I need you to understand something. This isn't just about today. This is about Emma's entire future with your family. If Patricia thinks this way now, it's only going to get worse as Emma gets older. I know. Trust me, I know. He stopped pacing and looked at me directly. What do you want to do? I want to protect our daughter. I want her to grow up knowing she's valuable and loved and belongs somewhere. I don't want her to spend her childhood trying to prove she's worthy of being included. Mark nodded slowly. So what does that look like practically? I think we need to step back from family events for a while. Give everyone time to think about what's really important here. And we need to find Emma some positive experiences with family, people who will never question her place with us. That evening, as we tucked Emma into bed, she asked the question I'd been dreading. Mama, will we still see cousin Tyler and Sophie? I hope so, sweetheart. Maybe not at big family parties for a while, but I hope we can still see them sometimes. Will Grandma Patricia ever want me in her pictures? I exchanged a look with Mark over Emma's head. This was the hard part of parenting, knowing when to tell the truth and when to preserve hope. I don't know, baby. But I know that Daddy and I will always want you in our pictures, because our family isn't complete without you. The next few weeks were difficult. Patricia called several times, trying to convince Mark that I was overreacting, that we should just move past the photo incident and get back to normal family routines. David sent a few texts suggesting we were being too sensitive. Jennifer made some passive-aggressive posts on social media about family loyalty and forgiveness. But Amanda surprised us. She called one evening while I was helping Emma with homework. Megan, I owe you an apology, she said without preamble. I should have spoken up more strongly at the studio. What Mom said was wrong, and I should have made that clear in the moment. Thank you, Amanda. That means a lot. I was wondering, would you and Emma like to come to the boys' birthday party next weekend? It'll just be us and a few friends. No Patricia, no drama, just cake and chaos. Emma's face lit up when I asked if she wanted to go to her cousin's party. Really? Just the fun cousins. Just the fun cousins, I confirmed. The party was exactly what we needed. Amanda's twins were Emma's age, and they welcomed her into their games without question or qualification. Emma spent the afternoon running around their backyard, playing games, eating too much cake, and laughing until her cheeks hurt. She fits right in, Amanda said as we watched the kids play. She always has. I don't understand what Mom was thinking. I think Patricia sees Emma as a threat to some perfect family narrative she's constructed in her head, I said. Like acknowledging Emma fully somehow diminishes the other grandchildren. That's insane. Love isn't a pie. There aren't limited slices. Over the following months, we built new family traditions with the people who celebrated Emma unconditionally. Amanda and her family became our regular Sunday dinner companions. We discovered that Mark's cousin Rachel, who lived across town, had also felt excluded from Patricia's inner circle over the years because she'd married someone Patricia considered beneath the family. Rachel invited us to join their extended friend group, a collection of families who'd all found their way to Phoenix from various other places and had created their own chosen family network. Emma thrived in this environment, making friends with kids who came from all kinds of family structures, single parents, blended families, adoptive families, families with same-sex parents. Look, Mama, Emma said one evening after a barbecue at Rachel's house. Jake's family looks just like ours. He's adopted too, and his mom and dad love him just the same as his sister who wasn't adopted. That's right, sweetheart. Families come in all different shapes, but love is what makes them work. The real test came 6 months later, when Patricia called to invite us to Tyler's 9th birthday party. It was the first family invitation we'd received since the photo studio incident. She specifically mentioned that Emma is invited, Mark reported after the phone call. And she said she wants to talk to you. I felt my stomach clench. What do you think? I think Emma misses Tyler and Sophie. And I think maybe it's worth finding out if Mom has learned anything from the last 6 months. The birthday party was held at Patricia's house, a sprawling ranch-style home in the foothills with a pool and mountain views. Emma had been nervous about going, but her face broke into a genuine smile when Tyler and Sophie ran to greet her as soon as we arrived. Emma. We missed you. Want to see the new swing set Grandma got us? As the kids ran off together, Patricia approached me with an expression I couldn't quite read. Megan, could I speak with you privately for a moment? We walked to a quiet corner of the patio while Mark supervised the children in the pool. Patricia looked older than she had 6 months ago, more tired somehow. I've been doing a lot of thinking since that day at the photography studio, she began. And I think I owe you an apology. I waited, not wanting to make this easier for her than it needed to be. I was wrong. Not just about the photos, but about the way I've treated Emma since you and Mark adopted her. I let my ideas about bloodlines and family legacy cloud my judgment about what really matters. She paused, watching Emma through the sliding glass door as she played with her cousins in the pool. The truth is, I was scared. Mark was my baby, my youngest, and when he married you and adopted Emma, I felt like I was losing him to this new family you'd created. I thought if I maintained these distinctions, these boundaries, I could keep him connected to his original family. But Emma is part of his original family now, I said quietly. She has been since the day we brought her home. I know that now. The last 6 months, watching how much Tyler and Sophie have missed her, seeing how empty our family gatherings felt without her laughter. Patricia's voice caught slightly. I realized I was destroying the very thing I was trying to preserve. She reached into her purse and pulled out a small wrapped package. This is for Emma. It's a locket that belonged to my grandmother, Mark's great-grandmother. I've been saving it to give to my first granddaughter when she turned 7. I looked at the package, feeling a mixture of hope and caution. Patricia, Emma would be honored to have this. But I need to know that this represents a real change, not just a temporary truce. I understand. And I hope I'll have the chance to prove that to both of you. She looked toward the pool where Emma was shrieking with laughter as Mark tossed her into the deep end. She's happy. Really, genuinely happy. That's what I should have been focusing on all along. When we gave Emma the locket that evening, her eyes went wide with wonder. This was great-great-grandma's. Really truly. Really truly, I confirmed. Grandma Patricia wanted you to have it because you're part of the family, and family treasures get passed down to the people we love. Emma hugged the locket to her chest. Can I wear it to school tomorrow? I want to show my teacher. Of course, sweetheart. As I tucked her into bed, Emma said, Mama, does this mean Grandma Patricia loves me now? I think Grandma Patricia always loved you, baby. I think she just got confused about how to show it. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, just like kids do. The important thing is that people can learn and get better at loving. The family photo session was rescheduled for the following month. This time, Emma was included in every single grouping, the grandchildren photos, the cousins photos, the multi-generational shots. Patricia made a point of positioning Emma prominently in the formal family portrait, right between Tyler and Sophie with her great-great-grandmother's locket gleaming against her dress. When the photos were delivered, Patricia had them framed and displayed throughout her house. The large family portrait took center stage on the mantel, with Emma's bright smile beaming out from the heart of the family arrangement. They're perfect, Patricia said when she showed us the final prints. You can see the love in everyone's faces. That's what makes a real family photo, not bloodlines, but the love that connects everyone together. A year later, Emma started 2nd grade with a confidence I'd never seen in her before. She talked freely about being adopted, explaining to curious classmates that it just meant she got to choose her family instead of just getting stuck with whatever family she was born into. That's kind of cool, her friend Madison said one day when I was volunteering in their classroom. You got to pick the best family. Yeah, Emma said proudly. And they picked me too. At our most recent family gathering, Thanksgiving at Patricia's house, I watched Emma help her grandmother in the kitchen, chattering away about school and friends while they prepared dessert together. Patricia listened with genuine interest, asking questions and laughing at Emma's stories. After dinner, as the adults lingered around the table and the kids played in the living room, Patricia raised her wine glass. "I want to make a toast," she said. "To family, not the family we're born into, but the family we choose to be. To the people who teach us that love isn't about blood or biology, but about showing up for each other, day after day, year after year." She looked directly at Emma, who was coloring at the kids' table nearby. "And to my granddaughter Emma, who taught this stubborn old woman that the heart has an infinite capacity for love, and that real family legacy isn't about genes, it's about the values we pass down and the love we share." Emma looked up from her coloring book and beamed. "I love you too, Grandma Patricia." As we drove home that evening, Emma chattering happily in the back seat about her cousins and her grandmother and her plans for the weekend, I reflected on how much had changed in the past year and a half. The photo studio confrontation that had seemed so devastating at the time had actually been a gift. It had forced all of us to examine what we really valued, what kind of family we wanted to be. It had given Emma the chance to experience unconditional acceptance from people who chose to love her completely. And it had given Patricia the opportunity to grow beyond her own limitations and preconceptions. Most importantly, it had shown Emma that she had people in her life who would fight for her, who would walk away from situations where she wasn't valued, who would choose her happiness over social convenience or family politics. "Mama," Emma said sleepily from the back seat, "when I grow up and have kids, I'm going to make sure they always know they belong in every picture." "That sounds like a perfect plan, sweetheart. If you've made it this far in our story, I want to ask you something. Have you ever had to stand up for someone you love against people who should have known better? Have you ever had to choose between keeping peace and protecting what matters most? Please share your experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear about the times when you chose love over convenience, when you stood up for inclusion over exclusion. And if this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. We're here to share stories of families who fight for each other, who create space for everyone to belong. Sometimes the most important family photos are the ones that show everyone who belongs in your heart, not just everyone who shares your DNA. Sometimes standing up and walking away is the first step toward building something better. That day at the photography studio, when I packed Emma's dress and left, I thought I was just protecting my daughter from one hurtful moment. I didn't realize I was actually fighting for her entire future, her right to belong, her confidence in her own worth, her understanding that love is what makes a family real. Every child deserves to be someone's real grandchild. Every child deserves to be included in every photo, every celebration, every moment of family joy. And every parent has the responsibility to make sure that happens, even when it means having difficult conversations with people we love. The family we have today is stronger, more authentic, and more loving than the family we had before that confrontation. Sometimes it takes a crisis to show us what really matters. Sometimes it takes someone saying the wrong thing to help everyone else learn to say the right thing. Emma is 8 now, confident and happy and surrounded by people who celebrate every part of who she is. She knows her adoption story, she's proud of her journey, and she's never again been made to feel like she doesn't fully belong somewhere. That's the real family legacy we're building, not one based on biology, but one based on the radical, inclusive, transformative power of chosen love.